Hello, everyone, and welcome to another great episode of Exponential Potential, where we aim to help you to thrive through times of great change. And as you know, in terms of format, sometimes we have some external guests, and sometimes we focus in with just us two and all of the wisdom that's there. And today and throughout this month, we've been covering the topic of abundance. And today's topic is called Aligning with Your Abundance. We're going to be looking at the possibility of abundance for you and for everyone. We're going to look at three key areas for you to focus in, how you can tune into your abundance and look at how abundance has shown up for you, Jen. And also kind of building on that sense, what are the tips? What are the practical tips to help you to receive abundance? And Jen is just fabulous. You've heard her speak many times, but again, kind of let me just give a quick recap of her specialism. So Jen is a freedom seeker. She's an adventurer. She's an activator of play and possibility, and you probably get that every time you see us talk. We're just having so much fun. But actually, that's grounded and that's rooted through expertise as an expert transformation coach, best-selling author, and Reiki master. And you specialize in helping women to come back home to their heart, to discover and live their path to most freedom, joy, and abundance. So many times we've gone through this loop, and there are so many conversations that we haven't recorded, but it's been very, very helpful in freeing women from feeling stuck, frazzled, and overwhelmed. And it comes from that sense of authenticity and humanity, not from some strange abstract sense. But you really help clients to transform negative self-belief, start to tackle those patterns that keep them stuck. And abundance is definitely one of those trigger areas, and one of the ones that is in such hot demand. So Jen, I'm so excited that A, we're covering this topic, and B, I get to cover this topic with you because I'm going to be scribbling notes.
Thank you, Claire. I love you always do such amazing introductions, and you just talking of abundance. This is an example of abundance. The love that we receive, and we are open to receiving it, which is one of the key areas which we'll talk about. But the love, the energy between myself and Claire, it feels abundant, it feels expansive, and I know that this sort of energy is contagious to our audience, because some of the feedback that we get is phenomenal, and we always help. People will always feel uplifted and feel good. Have that lovely sort of warm feeling that comes from this kind of energy that we have. So thank you, as always, Claire. So
let's dive into this concept of the abundance and the possibility that abundance is for everyone, because at times the world can feel a little bit unbalanced.
At times.
Well, okay. Green diplomat.
Yes, yeah. No, I think at the moment, especially now, exponential potential, thriving through times of change, and change always happens, but it feels at the moment there is so much massive change going on, and this is such a pinnacle point and a catalytical point to tip the ballot, to tip it into that fear, scarcity, and lack that we are being told constantly. We are bombarded with it from all angles, and shifting that energy into abundance. So as hard as it might sound for some people right now that are truly struggling with paying bills and mortgage, not just in the UK, in US, in Canada, in Europe, everywhere, across the world, there is a feeling of lack. And I am so passionate about helping people shift that to really see the truth behind that. And so, possibility of abundance. And I just want to do a little, just to sort of help you see the abundance. So, going back to the real fundamentals, nature, so your abundance, you were born with a birthright of abundance. We came into this world being born with a birthright of abundance. And what I mean by that, when we strip everything back, that's just the air that we breathe and our life-giving force of sun, the light, is totally and utterly free. There is nothing we need to do to receive that. And we have, the trees breathe out what we need to breathe in. We breathe out what the trees need to breathe in. That in itself is such an incredible symbiotic relationship. And there's no effort involved. We don't even have to think about doing that. It just happens. It's an automatic thing. And to expand on that, if we look at nature, the bounty of nature, the true bounty of nature, and if we harness nature, nature will give us everything we need to live. It will feed us, it will water us, it will nurture us, it will shelter us, it will give us warmth, it will give us cool. So just by, and then the fruits, the fruit trees will just continue to refruit. That's a word, refruit. But they just do. Apples will just grow on trees every single year on an apple tree, obviously. But an apple tree will continue to produce apples. A fig tree, we're very lucky because we live in Italy. We have a fig tree next door in a field next door. And the figs that come off that are to die for. And every year nobody takes care of it at the moment because there's no one that owns that land. But every year we get phenomenal figs and we do nothing except pick them. You can grow, if you have a garden, and I know not everybody does, but if you have a garden, you can grow fruits and vegetables to suit that particular environment. You can feed yourself, you can feed your family.
And look, and I'm in the UK and I'm in Devon, but I've grown up picking up cob nuts from the floor and eating cob nuts and picking blackberries from brambles, and on our travels, the blackberries are around and they're there. So you get these prompts through all of the time. Mint, for example, mint just thrives
everywhere. Mm-hmm.
Nettles, even, people.
There's a lot of things that grow in the wild that foraging is there's a big foraging movement, and it's incredible what we can get from nature that grows wild. And I used to love blackberry picking. We used to go blackberry picking and mushroom picking.
That's hardcore.
Well, there was a field. You've got to be really careful when you pick mushrooms. But there was a field that would just grow. The environment was perfect, and it would just grow regular white mushrooms, button mushroom type things. And we used to eat, go there. But yes, if you're picking mushrooms, you need to know what you're doing. But the dandelion leaves grow everywhere. And they are such an amazing source of vitamins and minerals that we need. So nature truly, and I wanted to spend a bit more time on that. Nature truly is a bounty of food and water here. And I know not everywhere, but you can. What makes me laugh, or doesn't make me laugh, well, kind of make me laugh because um, I can be quite glib about things, but we are, there's always this fear of scarcity of resources, or the scarcity of water, the water pipe bans and things like that. Hang on a minute, aren't we covered by 70% water on this planet? Aren't we? And then, aren't the ice caps melting? So it's, there are ways that we can harness nature. So we not stripping of the resources. The sun is a massive energy resource. So just take time to think about that, and to think maybe, I know my dad was saying, or my brother was saying, about the scarcity of fruit and veg in the UK at the moment. There were people were fighting over cucumbers, or there was a woman that tried to buy 20 cucumbers.
Yeah.
But it's looking at ways, okay, so maybe there are ways that you can grow your own fruit and veg, and it's such a rewarding thing to do as well. Yeah. So yeah, I'm get off my soapbox now on that.
Yes, but it's so true, and because, and I think often because we've grown up in an era where we have been abundant, and when things shift, we feel scarcity, or we feel what we think is scarcity. But around the energy crisis, for example, and lots of panic and bits and bobs. That we've got candles, we've got blankets, we've got jumpers, and you and I probably grew up in houses where the single pane glass froze on both sides in the winter.
Yes.
Yes. Kind of mold all around. So actually, we've kind of, as we've expanded and grown, we've kind of grown in this abundant environment and forgotten that we are naturally resourceful. We naturally have these elements around us.
Absolutely. So just be aware of that. And I think you can even grow tomato, because we grow tomatoes here in the fresh outdoors. We also have a little greenhouse. But if you don't have a greenhouse, or you could probably grow tomatoes on your windowsill. There's so many different ways that you can grow things.
And this is going to be a diversion, but I'm going to pay homage to my granddad, my mum's dad. So my mum's side grew up in a really deprived area of the city, and my granddad grew up in a block of flats. And he used to grow tomatoes on his balcony year in, year out. And I remember it because I did GCSE home economics, which counts because I got a good grade in it. But we had to do a budgeting exercise, and I had to work through with him, how much he spends each week on food, how much on electric, and so on. And he'd spend about £9 a week on food, but he'd be so resourceful in terms of meals. Some guy down the road would bring him a hooky pigeon every now and again, or a rabbit. Again, it's just but just more in tune with what was around, what was available, and kind of getting that
resourceful.
Being in touch with that side. But similarly, though, you kind of look at kids today. I didn't think I'd say that. Look at kids today. In the palm of their hands, they have access to nearly every single piece of information that has ever been created within seconds.
Yes.
That's
huge.
Incredible.
Yes.
Huge. We're so abundant.
Yes. Yeah, we overlook some of the things. So it's not just about the abundance comes in all sorts of things. I just want to say one more thing. So the possibility is there for everybody, but there is an exchange. So with, if you are growing, there's certain things that will grow wild, but there's certain things that need nurturing, that need the right environment, and I think I mentioned this before in a previous episode around love and relationships and abundance and how they're connected. But you need to nurture that environment, take out the weeds, water, make sure it's in the right spot. So there is an exchange of nurturing and receiving. So, and it's been open to that receiving, which is really, which is important. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So yes, I think it's just being aware of the abundance that nature provides us, and it's huge in the nature terms of things.
So are there other areas that we need to focus on, in order to start to tune into our abundance?
Yes. So firstly, there's three key areas. One is to really notice it, and not just in nature, but to believe it, to believe that there is actually abundance there, and by noticing it, it helps create that belief. And also, abundance, or it isn't. It's an energy, so it's to treat it with love and respect, whether that's money, whether that's somebody else, but treating things with love and respect. So specifically, if we're talking about money, we should treat it with love, whether we have it or not. So mind how you. My dog has just joined us.
Oh, hey, Poppy.
She's knocked out my connection.
Showing her love.
Yes. Okay, there we go. Oh, bless her. So yes, money, we'll talk a bit more about money. So, but it's treating it like an energy and exchanging. She's distracted me now.
Well, but this you hear some writers, I think Ken Hondo says arigato money. He's like arigato money, and it's just like this amusement and this love for the money. As he watches money come in and go out, it's like, oh, thank you. Is that what you mean?
Yes, exactly what I mean. So yeah, you treat it like it's a best friend. So it doesn't matter if it's with you or not, but you always treat it with love and respect. And Angela Wilson mentioned in the Money Abundance Living Out Loud episode about treating it as a tool as well. So you use it as a tool to do things with. So when we're talking about debt, for example, instead of saying, oh, it's debt and it feels heavy, when you talk about debt, it feels really, really heavy. But when you look at it from a different point of view, but what did I do with that money? What did it help me bring? What was I able to experience because of that? What did I invest in? Was it a holiday? And oh my God, that was amazing, that holiday. Was it a car? Was it just paying a heating bill? So look at what that debt brought you and look at it as an investment instead, and as an experience instead as debt, and it just feels so much lighter. Yeah. So that sort of thing, the way I'm talking about. And instead of saying, we can't, I know I grew up with, no, we can't afford it, no, you can't have it. Instead of saying I can't afford it, you can change it to either I can't afford it just yet, or even better, my priorities are elsewhere at the moment. I'm choosing to put my money somewhere else at the moment. Yeah. Because again, that feels a lot lighter, because when you go, oh no, I really want that, but I can't afford it. So one of the things that happens with law of attraction is you focus on wanting things, or you talk about, you think about the things you want, but it's very, very easy to then go into lack from that because you don't already have it. So I've got a really good top tool for you on that coming up. The other key areas to focus on, but not yet, two other key areas to focus on are, so noticing it. So, and I really recommend you journal it, and on a daily basis, and then look at all the ways that abundance came to you. So we've talked about nature, and then think about other ways that abundance have come from. We've talked about my and Claire's energy, about how we give and receive, and I received that wonderful introduction and those compliments that Claire gave me. So even being open to receiving a compliment is important. You know, how many times does somebody say, oh, I love that dress? We've,
Mm.
oh, this old thing. Or, oh my God, I bought this at a charity shop or a thrift store and it was like only $5, £5. You know,
Yep.
so receive it with gratitude and thank you. That's lovely. And actually give compliments to other people as well. That, so what we give is what we receive 10 times back. So noticing when you receive abundance, whether that's in compliment format, whether that's through nature, whether that's through money, that, you know, you've just received a discount off something, or you received a coupon, or you know, a 2-for-1 kind of deal. So that is abundance. The other element of noticing abundance is the ideas that come through, the abundance of ideas that are available for you, the conversations you have with people that you meet. And the way me and Claire met was through LinkedIn. And that was real abundance, because we've now created this incredible podcast and we love working with each other, you know, so.
And also circling out to create more abundance among our listeners. That's the intention,
Yes,
is to lift and
yes,
lift and lift.
yes, yes to that. and then the abundance that you have around you at home. You know, you have a roof over your head, you have a bed to sleep in, you have clothes to wear. So that, you know, all of that is abundance. So notice when you are abundant, write it down, you know, through, well, how was I abundant today? Or how was I abundant yesterday? Or how was I abundant last week? And start to notice. And of course, the love, the support that you have, the love that you have, the friends that you have. All of that is around abundance.
When you talk about the kind of abundance at home and some of the qualities that are there, do you think that's why, you know, some writers encourage you to get out the best crockery? Because when it's tucked away in the back corner, you know, you forget that you've got that asset. It's there. It's
yes.
Kind
of... yeah, get the best crockery out. Wear that dress.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So noticing it is really important. And writing it down so you can see it, because that will then help you believe it. So around belief, that's a tough one. And most of us need help around shifting our belief systems, because they're so ingrained. And a lot of the time, we don't even know they're there. They're so deep and hidden. We don't even know they're there. So one of the things that parents, especially, you know, Christmas, oh, you've been a naughty boy or you've been a naughty girl, so Santa's not coming. There's a massive element around whether you deserve abundance, you deserve a present, you deserve something nice. Because we grew up, we all did, and it's, you know, we all do it as, you know, I remember my friend would go, right, you're being naughty, I'm getting on the phone to Santa right now, I'm getting on the phone to Santa, he's not getting any presents because you're being naughty, you're not good. So, you know, that instills us with, we have to be good to receive anything good, or we have to be deserving. And that is a massive money block. That's a massive abundance block. Yeah, so I don't know how, because I'm not a parent, so I don't quite know how you get around that. I think it's positive. It's positive affirmations instead of lack, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm chuckling because money is like it's a massive thing with a tween as well. So, you know, you've gone to this new school, they go to the shop after school, or they buy, you know, from the canteen. So I regularly go in his bedroom and he's like been emptying out his money box because all he's everywhere. I'm like, oh, so it's such a tension. You don't, because you then tend to repeat what you were told when you were a child. You bring that through, and you kind of think, oh, okay, we're gonna
need to reword that, rephrase that.
About 20 years. but also kind of, yeah, the TV being absolutely chock full with how scarce resources are, how scared we
Yes.
should be. You kind of
Yes.
think, wow, is this in itself is hardwiring and hard coding into
Yes.
minds. The fact that
Yes.
it's on all the time, and unless you shield yourself from it,
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
going to kind of permeate into your subconscious.
Yeah.
Is Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
really important to be aware.
absolutely. Yeah. And things like money doesn't grow in trees. I had a conversation with my dad literally 5 days ago, and every conversation with my dad, as much is about money. Money always comes up. Um, and he even said, "Well, money doesn't grow on trees." No, and I said, "Well, actually, Dad, it does, because it's paper, or used to be paper. Now it's not even a thing; it's just numbers." It's numbers
Yeah.
on a screen. And what I find amazing is, and I don't know much about stocks or anything like that, but future stocks, things that haven't even happened yet, you can create abundance from. So these are just guesses for the future, or educated, informed. It's not, there's a lot more to that. Obviously, I'm not, but you can make, you can create abundance on something that's not even happened yet. So money, from looking at it like that, it can grow from anywhere.
Yeah.
And the other belief and is, well, if you've got a lot of money, then you must be greedy, or you must be corrupt, or if you weren't born into it. Where did you get that money from? Who did you shaft? Who did you rip off to get that money?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's really important that we start realizing that the more we come from that blocks all of us from our money, believing that we are the only, that people are corrupt or greedy that have money. So it's another really important shift to make, because the more abundant we are, the more abundant everybody is. So believing it, looking at what you grew up with, and shifting that, and realizing actually that's not true. Yes, okay, money was perceived to be tight, and you were told you couldn't afford things, but there are ways to shift that and go, actually, but now I'm an adult, and there are so many opportunities now for me to be able to be abundant in financial abundance. And then there's so many other ways where we're abundant. A hug is abundance. A thank you is abundance. So that, notice it, write it down, and then the more you look for that proof, the more you'll start believing it. And the other thing, we've already mentioned this actually, was treat it like a best friend. So we've already touched on that one.
And Jen, you've always been generous. I've just noticed that for the first time. Okay. But you've always been generous in terms of what you've shared here in the podcast, and you've shared quite a bit of your own journey. So how's abundance shown up for you? How's it come through?
It can, oh my God, there's so many stories that have like, where I've been like, really? That just happened? So when and because money was such a big thing growing up for me and for most people, it's a trigger. And I have to be really mindful not to go down the rabbit hole of lack. So when I catch myself doing that, or if I'm worrying about money, which I very, very rarely do, but occasionally it kicks me in the backside, and that's because there's another layer that's hidden that needs to come up to be released. But when I'm in my true flow, and I understand that I am always taken care of no matter what, when I'm in that zone of connecting with nature, feeling the abundance of life, things happen, like magical miracle things happen. So money appears. I get given money from really unexpected sources. Back in the UK, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, when I first moved back from Canada, I just moved back with my dog, 2 suitcases, and 2 divorces. and I was living on my brother's couch for 6 weeks. I got myself a job pretty quickly because of my mindset, my belief system. I really wanted to go to a retreat in the Bahamas. So my job was okay, but it didn't really cover that. I went to the bank. I didn't realize, after living in Canada for 10 years, I didn't realize I still had money in a UK bank account. I had an amazing credit rating. And so I borrowed to buy myself a car, to get myself an apartment, to go on this holiday. I borrowed £12,000 like that. I just, well, yeah, no problem. What do you want? How much do you want? What are you doing with it? I said, well, I'm buying a car. I need an apartment. Yeah, here you go. No problem. So that was one. But the best thing about that, the job I went into was awful. So then I focused back into my own business, building my coaching business and my well-being business again. And so that was tight financially, not other ways. Everything else was abundant, but financially it was tight for a while. And I couldn't pay back the debt. My debt got written off. I had to take action on it. I had to do the steps. I followed the steps. That's the other thing you need to do when you talk. And I had a 9,000 pound debt at that time. And it got written off because I went to seek out help. I asked for help through an organization, and the debt got written off with I didn't have to go bankrupt or anything like that. Yes, it would have hit my credit rating, but it didn't matter because I wasn't about to buy a house.
Yeah.
So yeah, those sorts of stories. Finding money on the street, £60 on going for a walk with my dog. Yeah, it's just crazy. And then of course discounts and things. At the moment, somebody's designing my website for free. Redesigning my website, and I've been looking at that and I've been putting it off. I'm like, I know my website needs updating, but I don't have time to do it. Wouldn't it be amazing if someone did it for me?
Well, and you say that in things like, Facebook groups, and, because we're wanting to boost our impact, I've joined some podcast support groups, and actually there's so much sharing of knowledge that's in there. You don't need to pay for a coach. You just need to show up and ask some questions and offer back in, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, let's see how that goes.
Yeah, there is so much free information out there. I mean, we both do free gifts and free workshops. Where you do need a coach or an expert is that accountability, or the specific information that you need or you need to uncover, and you need that support and that encouragement. But yes, there is so much information out there that's free. Totally. So yes. So many ways.
It's so cool. So let's look then. We've kind of G'd up our audience here for ways that abundance is around, but are there any practical tips that you've got to kind of open up to receive abundance?
Absolutely. So we talked about being open to receiving. So that is, if you want to receive abundance, you need to be open to it. And being open to it involves a lot, an open heart. So you need to be in that place of love and gratitude and appreciation, and have an open heart and be kind and compassionate and contribute. A simple thing is gratitude. That's always my number one. Gratitude. So start being really appreciative of what you already have, of the people that are around you. And it could be, so for example, I am so grateful to have met Claire, and I'm grateful for her the connection that we have, her knowledge, her expertise, the way she guides these interviews. So I could pick one of those, or an attribute of Claire, or something that she's done for me, and really focus on it until I'm smiling. And the more the deeper you go, the more you feel it. And even just looking at a photo of somebody, can create gratitude. My husband, he's my partner, Dominic, he will bring me up a cup of tea a herbal tea every single morning without fail. There's so many things that you can be grateful for. So focus on the things you appreciate. Focus on what you have, the things that you have, not what you have not. And that's all kind of wrapped up in appreciation and gratitude. And then, of course, show your appreciation, show your gratitude. Don't just keep it to yourself. Share it. And I mentioned a gratitude game before, where you, every day, the family who you're living with, or maybe you're not living with them, but you have a jar and you put a little thing of something that you're grateful for of that day. Somebody did something for you in your family that day. And then at the end of the week, or maybe a month, where you get together and have a family dinner, you pull them out and you read them. It's a wonderful way for children to learn gratitude. Really is. And it's a lovely way to create deeper connections and love with your family.
I'm just thinking, kind of all of those little notes are cues of what you can recreate and do more of as a parent, or as a partner. It's like, okay. Particularly since, this is not for this lesson, but we all have different love languages. We all have different preferences of how we like to receive love and joy. And so, if your partner writes, I'm really grateful that this happened. Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
Let's make some more of that, because I like making you happy.
Yes, exactly. And then all that also changes and shifts the energy within the relationship as well. So yes, gratitude is massive, and being open to receiving. And the other thing is to visualize. So instead of thinking, oh, I want this, I want that, I want this, and then coming from that, but I don't have it, so that feels really crappy. Visualize that you already have it, because your mind does not know the difference between actually having it and not having it. If you start visualizing that you already have something, and you start to, the mind will start releasing hormones that will then start you feeling like you already have it. So feel like you already have it. You can visualize what your future looks like in 6 months' time or a year's time. Feel what that's like, and then feel gratitude for it. The one thing I will say, you have to believe it, and you have to take action on it. There's also something else that the law of attraction doesn't talk about, and that's being in alignment with it. So if you are visualizing something, it may not be the best thing for yourself, it may not serve you in the best way to have that particular thing. So it's a little bit, for example, wanting a Ferrari. It might not be in your best interest to have a Ferrari, or it might be so far out of your mind, so far away from what you believe you can have, it's not going to happen. So you have to kind of shrink the gap. So you have to be at the same vibration of that car, or that holiday, or that whatever it is you want. So when you are looking at what you really want, when you're looking at manifesting things in abundance, come from your heart, rather than, so if that Ferrari is really in your heart and that's what lifts you, and there's nothing to stop you from having that. But if it's something that you don't really feel, it's just a want, and it's because, it's just a surface thing. I mean, my brother loves his fast cars. And I know your husband does too.
Yeah.
And he usually has one, and he's had some amazing cars, but he loves them. It brings him so much joy. It really lights him up. And I don't know how he does it. I really don't, but he does manage to find himself some really incredible cars that bring him so much joy. So it's not a surface thing. It actually really lights him up. Yeah. Visualize it. And I use these when I'm looking. I even use visualizations when I'm talking to a client, or if I'm talking to a client that's going to join me on a call to see if they want to work with me on their discovery and coaching session. Like, how do I want that call to go? And I set an intention of how I want to be in that call. And how I want to be is for that call to be in service for that person and for the best possible outcome for both of us. And it has just, and having that visualization and feeling that gratitude. And then after you've had the visualization, you then have to take action. You can't just, sometimes it does just come to you, but you have to be really taking care of your vibration at that point, really coming from that place of love and gratitude and feeling good and feeling high vibe. But you do need to follow the breadcrumbs. You need to follow the path. Somebody, maybe someone comes to mind. Oh, I'm going to make a phone call to them. Yeah. And then where does that conversation lead? Or when I met Dom, I followed the breadcrumbs. I always went out for a walk at the same time. And for some reason, this particular day, I decided I wanted to go for a walk at a different time and take a different route. And I just followed my instincts. I just followed that pull, the little tells. And I met Dom. Yeah. And it was amazing. From the get-go, it was just amazing. So it's taking the actions that are presenting, and that's a whole different session. It's difficult sometimes to know what's presenting, especially when you've got a really busy head. So that's why it's key to create space for yourself, so that you can listen to what you're being presented with.
It's I'll share a story that I've heard that's tickled me. It always reminds me, and kind of what you're saying is remind me of this story. And there's the great flood has come, and this man's on his house, and he's wanting to be rescued. And he looks up to God and is like, God, please save me! I don't want to drown. I want to live. I want to live. And a boat comes along with the police and is like, come on, we'll take you to safety. No, God's going to rescue me. God's going to rescue me. Thank you, but no. I've been a devout believer all of this time, and I know in my heart of hearts that God will save me. God, please save me from this situation. Please save me from this. And a helicopter turns up, and he goes, no, it's okay. I've kind of put in a good word. I've always been a good person, good in my heart. This is gonna come true. This is gonna happen. God's gonna save me. So the helicopter goes, and then kind of one thing or another happens, and the guy dies, and ends up speaking to God, and it's like, why didn't you come and save me? It's like, I did. I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter. What else do you want?
Yeah, I've told that
really badly as a story, but it's just like, just again, kind of being present and seeing those opportunities, those vibes as they come through.
Yes, noticing what's in front of you, and that's when you are present more than in your head. You will notice them more and more, and follow them, because they lead. It's where the magic lies.
Gorgeous. Now, talking of abundance and talking of gifts, I haven't forgotten that you said that there was going to be a gift on the way.
Yes. So you can, I've actually created a roadmap. It includes my favorite top tips, and it's all about from overwhelm to freedom and success. And in there is it's my kind of my systems, my framework of what I do every day, to help me live the life that I want to live, to help me feel grounded and calm, to get me into alignment with the things that I want to show up, to bring more joy and play into my life, to help me stay calm and grounded and balanced. And it's full of really beautiful activating images, as well as insight and exercises and top tools. So that is in the description below in the link. And it's my roadmap from overwhelm to freedom and success.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and actually one more really super gift. If ladies, if what you hear has resonated with you today, if you've felt a connection with myself and you want to make positive lasting change to your life, I'm offering a free coaching session. I only have so many a week, so if it does call to you, please click on the link below and go into my calendar and book a free coaching session and discovery call. It's with myself. There is no sales tactics. And the description of that is below as well, of what you'll gain from having a free coaching session with me, or a complimentary coaching session.
So listeners, definitely take advantage of that. Definitely kind of welcome that into your life, because Jen is, well, she's generous Jen. but also what I adore about Jen and her energy, and also kind of the conversations that we have, is the authenticity, is the reality. And very often, kind of, when you look on social media and people go, "Oh, it could be abundant," it is like, well, or kind of, actually you find out that they've hired a 30-minute slot on a private jet and they're getting rich off all of that. But and so there's a superficial nature to a lot of aspects of abundance that are out there at the moment, and they kind of drive towards this financial abundance that's up here. Actually, I don't see that energy at all around Jen, and in terms of her lived experience, in terms of her kind of flow and the daily practice, this is real advice for people who have got a real experience in their bodies right now. So, I do encourage you to accept, to receive.
Yes. Thank you, Claire. That's very kind and very generous of you as well. So
anyway,
yes,
before we make everybody vomit, we did say there's a lovely yummy energy between us, and it's an absolute pleasure to serve our audience in the way that we do, as well as have great conversations together.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you,
So,
Claire.
if you like what you hear, then please do click like, subscribe, and share. There's so much that's in here. If you've got a bestie who's struggling at the moment, who just needs a little bit of a hug through the airwaves, then send us to them. We'll give them a hug as well.
Yeah. And you can listen to us anytime. You can listen to us in the car, you can listen to us while you're doing your cleaning, you can listen to us while you're going shopping around the supermarket. I had a friend of mine that was doing that the other day. You can listen to us when you're having a bath, wherever you can have the opportunity to put headset in.
Absolutely.
Listen. If you feel uplifted, then please check out our other episodes. There's so many juicy things in there. Thank you very much for listening, everybody.
We'll see you again really soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.